The greatest story ever told against the greatest Ponzi scheme ever run. What's up, everybody? Welcome aboard to Bubba's Bottom Line for Sunday, March the 28th. March Madness is in full gear, and it's crazy out there, almost as crazy as the markets. In the meantime, this first part of our Bubba's Bottom Line will be brought to you by our friends at the CTG Group. Of course, CTG is our futures and commodities brokerage partner. We have other brokers, as we always tell you, but they are our preference. They're the only ones who are authorized to do our letter of direction trading. They trade all my accounts. They have some great managed futures products. And of course, tomorrow I'll have a special link for you as well. But again, you can go to Google and go to ctg.com, ctgtrading.com, where you can look at the Capital Trading Group. You'll find them. They'll be happy to talk to you. But in the meantime, the greatest Ponzi scheme ever is being perpetrated by the Federal Reserve. And of course, well, how do we know that? Well, again, they're creating new dollars to satisfy old debt. Look up the definition of what a Ponzi scheme is. And of course, this ridiculous stimulus program is a joke. Okay. Again, stimulus, especially to states like Illinois, New York, and California. Come on, are you kidding me? If these states can't figure out how to keep the overcharging that they do now, what are they going to do with more stimulus money? Steal it again? Okay, I mean, look, this is not a game anymore. This is getting very serious, because if you think it's free money, it ain't free. Okay, we, the taxpayers, are paying for it, so it ain't free. Okay, it's a Ponzi scheme. It is full of morons that are dealing with this, and of course, when you're dealing with models from 1920, what would you expect to see? Okay, I mean, no inflation, really? Yeah, there's no inflation. Of course, my groceries and gas bills have tripled, but no, there's no inflation, please. We're a service economy. It should be, the inflation data should be accounted for as a service economy. We're no longer, especially now, a producing nation. The new administration took care of all that. Okay, and this is not going well at the moment. Okay, we'll see. It's not a final score, and hopefully it'll be great. Again, I'm an American first, and hope that they can do a great job. But so far, the early returns are pretty ugly. Okay, and there's a whole bunch of stuff which we'll get into as much as we can today. But I got a whole bag of stuff. Okay, but again, we often hear about the manipulation of markets and the destruction of price discovery. Let's be clear and make sure that you understand, number one, what manipulation is, and number two, what price discovery is. They are not related. Okay, look, it takes a buyer and a seller to create price discovery. Okay, whether the market is crooked, manipulated, whatever you want to call it, you still have to have a buyer and a seller who have to meet to exchange the wealth, one asset for another. So, yes, are the markets manipulated? Of course they're being manipulated. You can see it what the Federal Reserve is doing. I mean, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to see that. You think housing would be going to Pluto if interest rates where they should be, which is like 5 or 6%? No, they would not. So we understand what price discovery is. It's what somebody's willing to pay versus what somebody willing to sell it for. Manipulation is a whole another story. But the actual price discovery model will always exist, because it will always take a buyer and a seller to meet. So don't confuse the issues. Okay, price discovery will always be in play. It's what the Fed does to create the price discovery. That's another story. And of course, what they're doing is pure nonsense. But it's so depressing, it's hard to talk about. But of course, it's apparent that they feel that a Band-Aid is going to fix a tumor. Okay, I mean, let's face it. I mean, what they have done, what the government has done, what the Federal Reserve has done is nothing. It's not even a dent in what's going on. There is one way to get things more back to normal. The first thing is to get everything open, put people back to work, because stimulus does nothing. It doesn't create jobs. It doesn't create growth. Okay, and we should have left the oil and shale business alone as it was, but no, let's turn control over to OPEC, the criminals from OPEC, and boy, I got news for you. Okay, the deal in the Suez Canal here, which is not really a big deal. Okay, as I said on Fox on Friday, okay, but it's really not a big deal, except that if it lasts much longer, it's not going to have a great effect from a goods standpoint for the United States. Only 10% of the world's shipping goes through the Suez Canal anyways. However, it will dramatically increase the price of oil. You know that OPEC is just licking their chops for a little bit more delay here so they can really stick it up our you-know-what. Okay? So, again, this is going to be interesting, after the weekend's over, and see if they've been able to get that ship freed. And God knows it might have been done on purpose in the first place. So we'll see where that ends up. But, again, you cannot fix a tumor with a Band-Aid. So, but of course, we'll keep trying because, after all, we got the taxpayers to pay for it. So remember, whatever they do that is free, you're paying for. I'm paying for. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm tired of paying. I'm tired of working hard to give away my money to a bunch of guys that want to sit them on a couch and drink beer, smoke crack, and watch TV. Okay, go out and get a job. Okay, that's what I want. Go to work. Put people back to work. And if the unions want to work, then put somebody else there and bust the unions. It's enough already. Okay, we're a year ago when the whole lockdown started. Okay, where are we? We're in trouble. Okay, we have systematically destroyed small business. We have systematically taken away the opportunity for the entrepreneur to succeed, except those that are involved in the internet. But a local pharmacy, a local neighborhood little store, they have no chance. They're all busted. Now, where was the fair and freedom then? Okay, when Walmart and others were allowed to stay open, and yet your local pharmacist, which many people prefer, including me, okay, we're not open. Okay, so they're out of business, and we are now once again stuck with big conglomerate business, not the regular average guy on the street who worked his ass off his whole life to put together money for a business. Okay, so again, we have systematically destroyed the capitalist free market system, with more to come, of course, because, of course, that's what this administration wants, is socialism and more crap. And, of course, we are setting ourselves up, okay, to get taken over by, of course, China. Now, look, is it going to happen or not? I don't know. But I will tell you this, you can bet your you-know-what that China is planning on something. And, again, I still believe the virus was sent here as more of chemical warfare than anything else. But let's say it wasn't, but that China wants to be the world power. Okay, they don't want the United States to be the world power. And of course, President Trump had that under control. Now we have turned the keys over to not only OPEC, but we have turned the keys over to China and everybody else around the globe except for us. So, of course, we get the good fortune of paying everybody else's bills, having illegal immigration at record numbers, and of course we get to pay for that too. Okay, and so if you're on one of the border states, especially, again, people want to come in legally, I'm all for it. Okay, we all came here at one point, but you went through the proper channels. Okay, and to just open the borders and let everybody in, but of course, let's get rid of guns, which are never going to go. Let's continue to change the dynamics of what a free country is, okay? Because God forbid we should all be able to prosper and do well. We got to make sure that we get those benefits out there, okay? So, look, with all the great housing sales, delinquencies are at record highs. Okay, now what is that telling? What is that message telling us? Well, I think about it this way. Okay, if the loans are starting to default already, okay, and there's still a lot of forbearance, you don't think there's more going to be going to default? Yes, we were selling houses at record numbers. Why? Because, of course, it's cheap money. But does it matter if you don't have the money? And if it's cheap, does it matter? It's like trying to sell a product at a loss and make it up on volume. So you know that the banks are going to end up in the toilet once again and again. Just another bill for us working Americans, okay, to be able to help foot so they can make a fortune while waiting for the system to blow, okay? I think that, you have this could almost be the greatest tap dance in history from the Fed, the administration, about what's going on. We're in trouble. Okay, this country. Look, yes, the markets are going up, and hey, I'm long. I'm all for it, man. It's okay with me. It can go up forever. I mean, again, as far as I'm concerned. But you all know that this is not real dollars. This is paper, artificial, inflationary dollars. Of course, we don't have inflation because when you keep trying to flood the money supply, it's hard to get any real inflation. Okay, but of course, personal income decreased again. Okay, but of course we're not working. So how would you expect personal income to be rising? This is where the rift comes in, and why states like Illinois, New York, California, and others that are still not open, okay, to any realistic capacity. I mean, look, why are we not given the choice as Americans to have the freedom of choice of whether to go out to a restaurant or, if I'm the restaurant owner, to open my restaurant? Where is my choice? Okay, I think that is, in my opinion, the biggest problem is that we have lost the opportunity of freedom and freedom to choose. But of course, as we systematically give up our freedoms, okay. And again, if you think I'm wrong, you can certainly write to me whatever you want. But I mean, the facts are clear, and we'll get more into that in our commentary. This is Bubba's Bottom Line. It is Sunday, March the 28th, and of course, as we step out of here for a break, we want to remind you that we have our great partners out there, our other brokerage partner at Tradier. Okay, Tradier Brokerage. Again, I have other equity brokers as well, but for equities and options, there's nobody like Tradier. As I always tell you, I mean, the simple no-brainer answer is $10 a month. How can you not even think about it for $10 a month? You realize how much money you will save at $10 a month, okay, instead of 65 cents a contract. They've got good customer service, actually great customer service. And also, on top of all that, we have their APIs. We have been able to automate our programs if you choose. Now, if you don't want to automate, you don't have to. Okay. We make it available to you at no charge if you choose to do so. Okay. So if you want something else to do trading for you, we make it up to you for free. Okay. And of course, our family farms partners, it's so exciting that we are seeing some light at the end of the tunnel. We'll get back out on the road. And because again, listen, all I want to do is help American farmers and help them better take care of their money through either their portfolios and the equities, but also for sure their hedging of their crops and of their meats, because I think that they've made too many mistakes over the years and been taken far too advantage of. And I just want to clear that up and make sure that they get the opportunity to handle things correctly. And of course, the commodity report, which is written by Andy Hecht. Andy writes he's the number one writer for Seeking Alpha. He's also writing for bar charts. He is an ex-trader. I mean, he was on the commercial side. Okay, he was a big shot at Salomon Brothers and at Phillips Brothers. And again, he's been all over the world trading raw and board commodities. So he writes a terrific report. Now the quarterlies are coming out. Check it out. Go to BUBBATrading.com, Technomental, And of course, our high school program, which we are going to finish and get ready for next school year, because obviously this school year was a bust. But at Patreon, if you want to help us out, patreon.com/Bubba Trading. That is patreon.com/Bubba Trading. Now let's get back to Bubba's Bottom Line for Sunday, March the 28th. Welcome back. It is Bubba's Bottom Line. It is Sunday, March the 28th. And of course, this is our market segment, and we talk about markets. And so as long as we're talking about markets, why don't we use one of our trading partners as a sponsor of this segment? And that'll be Trade Your Brokerage. And again, when I tell you that $10 a month is unbelievable, it is. And, it's funny, on Friday, when I tell you about their customer service, on Friday afternoon, I had a problem after the markets closed, but I was able to fix it, and thanks to them, because they took care of it, and and they didn't know it was me calling. I mean, they were there and they took care of business, which is great. And of course, I do have other brokers, but again, $10 a month. I trade. I'd be paying at other places in the tens of thousands of dollars a month versus paying 10. So, plus the fact we have their APIs and we have the ability, if you choose, and it is your choice 100%, not mine. You don't have to automate, but if you want to, you've got the option to do so. In the meantime, okay, so markets were long, except for the Russell. Now, again, obviously the Russell was reversed. It suddenly, from the day we reversed, which was Thursday, it went straight back. But actually, it went down a little bit lower, and then it's gone straight up since. In the meantime, the Dow and S&P have made new all-time print highs. I apologize. Closing highs. Okay, print highs were made a couple of weeks ago. In other words, they closed at their highest levels ever on Friday. Okay, the Russell not so strong, but the Nasdaq looks really bad. Now we're still long in this, but it looks really weak and really bad. Now that doesn't mean anything, because of course they could catch up, they could turn around. But in the meantime, we are long the Dow, the S&P, Nasdaq, short the Russell. So we've been long throughout basically the entire move. And again, I'm not telling you to be long or short. I'm saying follow the path of least resistance and quit trying to outsmart and outguess the market. Because when you do, you end up in the toilet. Okay, it's that simple. Okay, you want to have a chance to make money, then follow the path of least resistance. Okay, you want to be, as we say, you want to be an amateur. Okay, and you have your opinion count. Okay, you play your opinion, and while you're losing your money, and we'll keep making money as professionals. Okay. In the meantime, the metals. Yeah, they were, mixed to lower last week. They look bad. We're short gold and silver. And we would be short platinum, but we no longer trade it. It's just not liquid enough. Okay. But at the end of the day, they look really weak too. Okay. Even the rallies look pathetic. Now, someday it's going to rally again. And again, full disclosure, as an investor in my long-term holdings, I own gold. I own real gold. I'll show it to you one day. But we're not talking about investing here. We're talking about trading. And from a trader standpoint, they look like crap. Okay. Crude. Now, we had some wild swings this week in crude. And of course, crude is way up since the election. Now OPEC's in charge. And as I mentioned earlier with the Suez Canal, we could see some dramatic stuff. But in the meantime, believe it or not, with all the wild swings, and there were some big numbers this week in crude, it was slightly lower on the week. So we are short crude now after writing it up, but it's interesting. You would think, how could it have been down this week? I saw a couple of days ago, $2-3, but it was lower on the week. Okay. And nat gas, which we have just reversed. Okay. And we haven't reversed it. We reversed tonight or tomorrow morning. In the meantime, we will be long nat gas. And we will also be reversing copper back to the long side. Okay. Hey, look, I don't predict them. I just trade them. Whatever I'm told to do based on what the pattern is what I do. Okay. I follow my algorithm and my rules 100%. Okay. So we will be long tonight or tomorrow morning. And, again, that'll be some of myself I may do tonight. I don't know yet, but I know that CTG won't do anything until tomorrow morning, which is great. Okay. And the bond market, bonds and notes were slightly higher for the week, but they look awful. Now, again, if I told you any asset class that somebody was going to spend $120 billion a month and you would continue to look like garbage, what does that tell you? And the bond market continues to tell the Federal Reserve that they're idiots and that they're wrong and that interest rates need to be higher. And you have to get that Fed funds rate off of zero. Okay. But, the Fed is the Fed, right? I guess they don't have to do anything they don't want to do. Okay. So they will continue to do nothing. Okay. But, create that free cash. But, again, as we look, around the markets, again, it's always be with the path of least resistance. The dollar was up last week. We're still long dollars. The grain markets were a little soft, right? So corn and beans were lower. We're still long both corn and beans, but the wheat was really ugly, and we did short wheat on Thursday or Friday. I don't remember. One of the 2 days, Thursday or Friday. Okay, we shorted wheat, and so now we're long corn, long beans, short wheat, and of course the meats, the protein complex looks very solid, especially hogs. Hogs are exploding. And are over $1 now. And if you remember, about a year ago, they were at about 39 cents. So we're seeing some great movement. But I think also the cattle markets look great, and we're actually coming into great season as well. As we, first of all, we know the Americans are dying to get out there. I mean, we want to get out. We want to go out and see people. We want to go out and do things. So you're seeing that, but I expect that to be very good information and news for those markets. And the softs, we're short the softs across the board. Okay, cotton, OJ, coffee, sugar, and cocoa, and they were marginal last week. Nothing was dramatic either way. So, and again, I don't do as much work for those because I'm not trading those actively, where I do trade the other markets very actively. And just an interesting story this week, which was the Dalio talking about Bitcoin, and that Bitcoin could be outlawed. Well, I would say this, and I think I've said it here before, Bitcoin can't be outlawed. Okay, it can be, the stores that accept it, the retail vendors that accept it, might be restricted. That can happen. Okay, which should be the only way to stop it. But as far as stopping the actual process of a free market without Fed intervention, it'll never be stopped. It is no different than illegal bookmaking offshore. It is no different than doing anything that is offshore. Okay. Again, it just may be harder to spend, but I don't think it'll slow the market because it'll actually create probably a bigger market of stored money. And again, just remember, if you're for example, in a communist country and you've got some dough and you're trying to leave there, you ain't walking out there with 100 gold bars, right? You got to get it out somehow, and you can't get it out in physical. So in the meantime, we'll see. I do believe that the crypto space, as I've told you before, full disclosure, I've got a position, but nothing. If it went to zero tomorrow, I would not lose one night's sleep. But I'm involved. I'm playing a bunch of the smaller ones, looking for the next miracle. In the meantime, we're going to stop out here for a break, and we'll be back with my commentary right here on Bubba's Bottom Line, Sunday, March the 28th. Well, kids, very, very lively show. And of course, the NCAAs are very lively. We'll give you our selections for today after my commentary. But in the meantime, don't forget about our other brokerage partner at CTG Group. Again, I have other brokers, so I always want to be clear. But CTG is phenomenal. They got great customer service. They do all my accounts. Listen, they do all my executions with the exception of one account. Okay, they're the only ones authorized for our letter of direction trading. So, again, that tells you what I think of them. I mean, if I'm going to give them my money and let them execute for my members, you can imagine how I think, right? And they've got some great managed futures products themselves, so check them out. Okay, again, hey, listen, go broker where you want. But if you want our choices, that's one of our choices. In the meantime, our partners at Family Farms, what are great partners. And, it's finally, the weather's getting nicer. We got daylight savings time, and now maybe we're going to start to get open. So hopefully we'll be out, back on the road a little bit. Of course, not a great time for me to go start visiting farmers when we're going right into planting season. But in the meantime, it'd be great to be able to be with them and do some of the conferences again. And of course, the commodity report, Andy Heck, he writes for bar charts. He writes for Seeking Alpha. He's a professional trader for 40 years. He's my age and he's been around. He's traded to physicals. He's traded from the commercial side of the world. But he writes probably the best report I've ever seen. If you're in commodities, you got to check it out. And of course, with the quarterlies coming out, which are phenomenal. Okay. Go to BubbaTrading.com. It's called Technimental if you want to check it out. And of course, our high school program, we have a high school program. It's financial literacy for kids. because obviously this country is severely lacking. But again, if you're interested, I fund about 91% of it myself. I get some help from Patreon. So if you want to be one of those who help us out as we try to rebuild this program after the debacle of the thing, now we don't make money on it. This is not a profit center. I sponsor it myself, and I get some help from Patreon. Okay, from you people who help me at Patreon. It's Patreon, patreon.com/Bubba Trading. That's patreon.com/Bubba Trading. Let's get back to Bubba's Bottom Line and, of course, my commentary. Welcome back, everybody. And it is Bubba's Bottom Line. It is Sunday, March the 28th. And every week I give you what I'm thinking. And, last week you saw, now I don't watch a lot of this stuff, but I know what they're trying to do. And, of course, you had the big tech testifying last week on the Hill, right? We have nothing else to do but now have big tech testify. And, of course, they all, they deny everything. But, I think the point that you're missing, okay, with big tech, okay, and every piece of information you give them, you are giving away more of your overall freedom. Okay, look, again, it's from Alexa to Facebook, you keep giving away your information. Now, you don't think that there's other countries that are getting that information at the same time. But remember, anytime you willingly give up your information, you have become the product. Okay? You aren't, your rights are not protected. You are the product. But I'm telling you that their whole goal behind this is to have regulations put on the big tech stuff, Facebook and Twitter and all those, because they don't want the competition to come in later. Okay, so they are creating the regulations that they're helping design. Okay, and to prevent future competition from ever having the dough to get involved. So again, is there anything as good as Google? Is there anything as good as Facebook? Is there anything as good as Twitter? Not really. Okay, now again, I don't like any of them. But overall, I mean, from a standpoint of how they work, they're very good and they're very effective, which is why they're the tops of each field. But again, they're trying to work this manipulation and this regulation so that they benefit in the long run. Okay, it's self-serving to get everything regulated. Now that they've built and made their billions, okay, it's now time to regulate it so nobody else can make their billions with them. Hey, take it for what it's worth, but that's my opinion. In the meantime, we do have some more NCAA basketball as we wind down into the Elite Eight and then the Final Four. And today we do like Michigan a little bit, but it's very scary because Florida State's very good. But we do like Michigan a little bit. Okay. And of course, we like, if I don't forget and lose my mind, okay, we like Arkansas a little bit. Okay. So in the meantime, everybody, have a great week. Have a great weekend. Happy Passover. Happy Easter. We'll see you back. We'll be back on Easter Sunday. But have a happy Passover, happy Easter, Good Friday, a blessed Good Friday to all of you. In the meantime, we will see you tomorrow with Bubba's Daily Update. And for the rest of the week, we'll see you from Las Vegas at our other home. In the meantime, have a great week, everybody. As always, I thank you. We'll see you back here next week on Bubba's Bottom Line.